grow up with the NES, PlayStation, Star Wars, cartoons, and 80s TV? Do you like to think who would win in a fight between Batman and the Master Chief? Comics, games, movies, music, and TV, they're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of geeks. Games, movies, music, and TV, they're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of This Week in Geek. This Week in Geek.
Well, hello. Welcome back to another show. This is another week of, well, planned on having a regular show with the full news and weird news and all that, and then Birdman contacts me and goes, I'm double and triple booked for a lot of stuff this week, more than I was expecting, or at least he told me. And he showed me some of his itinerary, and I went, dude, that's a fair bit. And also, I'm going to be away on the weekend when we would normally record to visit my mom for her birthday, and with the weather being off and on great, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get back in time or even have a dedicated internet connection where I'm going to be to record. I said, so let's try to record early. So we were going to record a couple days early, pre-record the show, and then when we figured out the timing, we're like, this isn't going to work either. So we're basically adding one additional review that we usually have 3 reviews in our regular shows. But we have one extra from Birdman, so we're going to have 4 reviews in here. It's going to be actually a very short TurdOrTreasure review show for that reason. We're working on some bigger projects. Let's see, what can I say? I have, for the beginning of the week, I can say maybe not exactly what games I'm working on, but I'll say genres. I have a racing game that I'm working on. I have a couple of ports, RPG ports, that are coming to new platforms. I also have one bigger game that's pretty surprising so far. That's under embargo, so you can look out for info on that in about a week, 2 weeks maybe. And I can say one thing I'm working on. While I go away, I'm taking my Nintendo Switch 2 with me, so that I have something to play at nighttime. And we were sent review copies of the Pokemon GBA Fire Red and was it Leaf Green? So my brother is going to play one of the games. I'm going to play the other. We're going to check it out. I never played them originally. That was past when I was into Pokemon in my teen and upwards years. So he did, and so he's going to tell me, how does it feel being ported and everything, and we're going to play a little bit of that, and I'm going to give my thoughts because that's already out, so I can mention it. So we're working on that, plus a few other things. Some new movies came in, so I'm probably going to take some over to when I'm visiting my mom. We're going to watch some, and maybe I'll get her thoughts on what she thinks of some of these movies. Maybe not the Kung Fu. I don't know, maybe she will like the Kung Fu ones. We'll see. There's a bunch of stuff that's coming. Birdman's got a bunch of projects on the go. Obviously, he's working on RPG books, as well as doing more programming for CFRU radio with the spell book and a bunch of other stuff. So, yeah, we're going to sort of jump back and forth between a review of mine, a review of his. I'm not exactly sure which ones he's sending in just yet, because we're pre-recording all of our segments ahead of time, but I can say mine. I have a review of Atari Digital Eclipse's Disney Afternoon collection, which was released several years ago. We covered it, I think, on the podcast several years ago now. But there's now a Switch and Switch 2 version that includes a couple of Super Nintendo games that were not in the original package. So I'll have that review in here. I also have some hardware from our friends over at Be Quiet. They sent over a mouse for us to check out. And Birdman will have a couple of things in here, maybe 2 or 3 things, depending on how he segments it out. And yeah, I'll come back at the end, give a quick update on the programming that's coming up over the next week. And yeah, I guess I'm going to either send it away to me or Birdman, but we'll be back just in a little bit here, right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here, and I'm back with yet another review, and this one's going to be focused on the TTRPG hobby. So my friends over at Renegade Game Studios, who's currently, as of this recording, hosting Renegade Con, so hopefully you'll see some cool announcements come out of there. I asked them for a couple of things for me to take a look as I prepare to go into TTRPG season, and of course, it's my chance to try out some of these things, to show them off at local conventions like GriffCon and stuff like that. And I want to highlight two of these items in a review tonight because I think some of these are really cool. And I think it actually adds something to your gaming experience depending on the IP. And the one I'm going to be talking about right now is the Power Rangers role-playing game. But there's more specifically two items that I think will kind of add to that authentic experience of, well, being a Power Ranger. The Power Rangers role-playing game runs upon the Essence 20 system. And that's basically a dice scaling system. And the first thing I'm going to recommend is actually any of their themed dice sets. Now, the site that they sent over was the Green Ranger. The Green Ranger, Jason David Frank, rest in peace, played Dr. Tommy Oliver at one point. That's the Black Dino Thunder. But when I first met Tommy, he was the Green Ranger. And I'm sure as kids we all remember for 5 days where he kicked the ever-living crap out of the original Power Rangers team and eventually became the most popular Power Ranger, arguably of all time. And it's cool. Like, I love Tommy as a character. I love his look. I actually have his dragon coin, his power coin as a tattoo on my right arm because he's my favorite Power Ranger. So I think having these dice sets is really cool. So what you get here is you get 2 D20, you get a D12, a D10, a D8, a D6, a D4, and a D2 power coin. So literally, when you have to roll your initial step on a ladder, you flip your coin, and eventually you get more and more things where you can climb, and you roll the amount of dice, like maybe you are rolling up to a D12, and you're rolling everything under that. And there's something about the table psychology, I feel, about having themed dice. There's something you connect to. Does it offer any mechanical advantage? No. You could literally use like a pog if you wanted to be a like power coin for this, which ultimately would kind of almost be a weird kind of power play. But again, just having the coins here as your D2, that's cool. That kind of sets a psychological thing for you that I think is really important when you're playing 5 teenagers with attitude and fighting whatever creature, be it Goldar, Lord Draken, maybe people from like the Machine Empire or whatever. I really think it's cool. Now, I did not get the dice bag for this. It just has the Power Rangers lightning bolt on a black bag. That's cool. Hopefully in the future I can get one of those. I think I might have one somewhere, but I'm not 100% sure. And as of right now, there actually is a sale going on these things, which I think is pretty neat. But the other thing I want to talk about, and this is more meant for long-term campaign play, and I think this is where something you as a player can really do something with. So what I'm going to be talking about is the character journal. And this is like a 80-page hardcover little booklet there. And it literally, I'm going to open it up right now as we're kind of reviewing it here on the show. It gives you like a cheat sheet, like how you spend story points, action stuff in the back. But it also has you like, what is your Zord? Like, what is your personality, your life experiences, your family, a major character turning point, your fellow Rangers, session notes. You can actually take the proper notes that will make your game master so happy that you're doing that. And it's, again, a way to buy into that table psychology of you creating something. And I'm just going to read the back of this thing from the actual kind of packaging. And here's what it says. Every hero deserves a story, and the Power Rangers role-playing game character journal, it's as easy as grabbing your pencil. This journal is filled with character building prompts as an expanded character sheet and plenty of session notes. What are you waiting for? It's morphin' time. So again, this is hardcover, 80 pages. It's a character sheet with character building prompts. You can describe and draw your character for your fellow Rangers and Zords. Tons of, like I said, room for like kind of session notes and rules reference. Because again, not everybody at the table wants to be asking, well, how does this work? And again, one of the things I've learned as my participation in the hobby of role-playing is character should be more than a stat block. Like, you should be more than like, my smarts is this, my strength is this, my health points are this. You are more than a collection of numbers. And I come from the old school of Dungeons and Dragons, where it was roll 3d6 in order. None of this roll 4d6, drop the lowest or point buy system. Now, obviously, character building and role-playing as the hobby has evolved, things have changed. But I find by having these writing prompts, it can make you a better player. And that will in turn help your dungeon master, storyteller, whoever, help them craft better stories. Like if I know your ranger has a girlfriend, boyfriend, younger brother, sister, maybe your mom passed away or something, it's these little notes that give me flavor. And it's you, again, to buy into the headspace of whatever you're doing. And when you marry that with the themed dice, I think in the right circumstances, it can really help you immerse yourself. And I'm not saying you need to buy the merch to get into it, but having things like this, having the character prompts at your fingertips without having you to reference YouTubers like D&D Shorts, Dungeon Dudes, Ginny D, whatever, it's right there. And I think in a very powerful way, this can help you be a better character, be a better player, and ultimately maybe you'll bring the rest of your table up with you because you're like, hey, I've got all these answers right here, and you know what? I'm taking notes, so our game master Jenny doesn't have to as much as she needs to. And hey, maybe you pick up on a detail your game master doesn't. So when Jenny decides to drop the Grave Zord on you, you can be like, I don't think you can do that. Though, don't do that. Nobody likes that guy. But either way, yeah, ultimately, I think the Power Rangers character journal is a wonderful addition to the Power Rangers role-playing game. And I think the dice, again, I think are really cool. Like I said, I'm really happy to see the Power Coin. If I did have to give a suggestion, because I know Renegade is listening right now, I think having a some kind of a dice dungeon as a power morpher, as like a morpher, would be really cool, and your coin can sit in the front to identify it. Maybe that's how it unlocks. Now, I don't know. Maybe that's like a Kickstarter in the future. Maybe I'm just dreaming. Maybe I'll get out my like 3D printer and I'll figure this out. But either way, yeah, I think the dice sets are pretty fantastic, and I think the character journal certainly gives your character a little bit something as you shall. It's morphin' time! As you fight the monsters of Rita, Repulsa, and Lord Zed and beyond.
Alex, the producer here, and our friends at Be Quiet sent the Dark Perk Ergo, which is a new mouse for us to check out. This is actually the first mouse that we've seen from them that we've had a chance to check out. We've checked out a bunch of keyboards from them. They're awesome cases, power supplies, liquid coolers and fans and all that fun stuff from them in the past. But yeah, this is the first time we've had a chance to check out one of their mice. And this is, as said, it's a PC mouse. They've got some pretty neat stuff here. So I'll just list off sort of what's included in the box when you open it up. You have a 2.4 gigahertz RF wireless dongle, USB A to C adapter, braided USB A to C cable adapter, as well as the manual. The big deal behind here is it is an RF wireless mouse, so it's actually pretty good. It's one of those ones that has a pretty fast polling rate for it as well. It feels responsive. It is up to 1,000 hertz polling, which is pretty good for a wireless mouse. The connector is USB 2 Type-C for this as well, with a cable length of 1.8 meters when you're plugging it in to charge or plugging it in for wired use. Micro switches are included. The big deal here is battery life, up to 100 hours of active use, and that's within the 1,000 hertz polling mode, which is pretty good. As far as DPI, it can do up to 32,000 DPI, depending on how you switch. It goes into bigger details about the encoder and everything for it, but I can just say this. It is a very comfortable, ergonomic feeling mouse. It does just have that premium feel. Comfort is quite good. I was using it on a few different surfaces. Tried it at my desk with nothing on the table, just to see how it would work. Picked up just fine. Tried it with a regular mouse pad as well. And then I tried it in my living room setup. And for my living room setup, and even in the bedroom, what I'll sometimes do is if I'm using a computer in there, I have usually a trackball mouse or a mouse with a trackball thumb, because you don't want to be constantly, moving it around on like an armrest or on a mattress or something. And then I sometimes will have a mouse pad that I can use for it as well, and just for saving space. And I can say this, it worked on pretty much any surface with very little, movement needed. It's actually pretty solid. I'm happy with that, because I have become accustomed to using trackpads or thumb trackpads or trackballs for a lot of these things. And this, if I'm playing games, this is going to be probably the mouse that I use for accuracy, as well as just being really, really nice. Getting that 100 hours per charge is pretty good. A lot of other mice in its class are more like 30, 40 hours of active use, especially at a high pull rate like that. And that's pretty good. So, sleek, ergonomic, happy with it. Price point, depending on your region, you have to check that out. It's pretty good, I think, overall. I'm very happy with it. It goes well with the keyboards and other accessories that we have from them. It's nice and sleek. I'll put a link in the description for it. Check it out if you're looking to get a new build or even a gift to get somebody, or gift for yourself. We're entering tax season now, so if you're getting a tax return, you want to splurge on a few computer items for yourself, this might be something to include in that treat yourself spending spree that you might have coming your way. Alex, the producer here, and our friends over at Atari and Digital Eclipse gave us a review copy of the Disney Afternoon Collection on the Switch for us to check out. Now, this is specifically a Switch 2 edition that I was sent. For those that were unaware, this was a collection at one point on other platforms that included a bunch of games, and now we have a more quote-unquote complete edition that has more games added to it. So, for the Switch and Switch 2, it introduces two SNES classics, Bonkers and Goof Troop. For the first time since their debut on the original platform, are included here, alongside DuckTales, Chip 'n Dale, Rescue Rangers, more. So, a breakdown of what was there. If you're wondering, the previous games, we've talked about them in the past in the original version. We're sort of going to focus a little more on what the extra is included here, but as a breakdown, DuckTales and DuckTales 2, the NES games, are included. Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers and Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers 2 for the NES, Tailspin on the NES, Darkwing Duck on the NES is included, and then for the first time here, they're including Bonkers and Goof Troop. So Bonkers is one of the Super Nintendo games that I think was overlooked. I remember a friend renting it. I don't think I ever owned it. I think a friend had it and I played it at their place. But it was one of the ones I think that's overlooked. And then Goof Troop is the hidden gem here. This is one of the early Shinji Mikami games. Puzzle. It's more of a puzzle game than a platformer. Like you're solving how to clear each screen and then moving on. Good graphics. This is like a true hidden gem on the SNES, and for the longest time was one of those games where, in the retro gaming community, people were like, this is one that you need to try out. It's not the NES. Like, everybody talks about the NES era of Disney games from Capcom, or, conversely, if you're a Sega kid, you were a big fan of the Sega produced Disney games for the little bit for the Genesis, but mostly for the Master System and Game Gear, especially in like Brazil and the European markets. We got some, we didn't get everything here. Those are considered like also great. But this was one of the ones when they went to the 16-bit era, it wasn't like everything, people knew about it. It wasn't like everything was a huge smash hit, even though some of these are really good quality. So solid here. No input lag on my end when I'm playing it. Visuals are what you'd expect. Audio was always great in these games. So the NES games feature time attack, boss rush, speedrunning modes with online leaderboards. There is the ability to rewind to correct if you've died. So if you're careful, you could probably make it through the game without having to, ever have a game over this way. There's a virtual museum, a gallery from Digital Eclipse historians, behind the scenes materials, archival content from the Disney Vault, a music player where you can play the original soundtracks from all 8 games. It's a pretty solid release, and this is available. Obviously I was playing a digital version, but it is available in a physical version as well for Switch and Switch 2. Preference-wise, they're basically going to play the same no matter which one you play it on. But I'll throw a link in the description of the show so you can pick it up if you'd like. If you buy it officially from Atari, you're looking at about $40, $41, depending on the exchange rate in Canadian, for the Switch 1 version, and $55 for the Switch 2. There's always a little bit more. It's always like that, how it is last gen versus this gen. And that's if you want to get the physical versions. They're shipping May 29th. If you want the digital, they're available now. As of this recording, depending on when we put this out, this should be available as of now, because they're coming out on February 26th. So solid release. Glad they included the extra games. I'm having a blast with it. I'm sort of taking this with me as I'm visiting family off and on over the next week or two. I'll be playing through the Disney Afternoon Collection, now including the 2 SNES games.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here. I'm here to talk to you about something really fun we got from our friends over at Hasbro. Hasbro was generous enough to send over a copy of the Transformers Age of the Primes G2 Universe Dinobot Slug and G2 Universe Dinobot Snarl. So what is this? Well, as I mentioned, these is a 2-pack that is based upon their Generation 2 appearance. And this is very much in line with the Generations Deluxe or Select series you may have seen. So think something like Shattered Glass Optimus and Ratchet, that sort of thing. Basically recolors or slight retools meant to turn into obscure characters. However, the Dinobots, this is a simple callback to how the Dinobots were re-released in the 90s in the most extreme colors possible. What do I mean? Well, once upon a time, Grimlock was a cobalt blue T-Rex. And well, now the rest of his Dinobot compatriots are following. So what you get in this is you get Slug, who is he's the Stegosaurus, right? He's the red guy. And then you're getting Dinobot Snarl, who is the Triceratops, and he's more Christmassy green. Now, visually, these figures are ugly, but that's kind of the appeal of these things. Like, if you're familiar with any of the Studio Series Dinobots, these things, as far as I understand, are pretty much just straight recolors. And that's not a bad thing. In fact, one of the things, when I've reviewed previous Dinobots here on the show, I have said these things are basically mainline masterpieces, and they really are. The simplicity of the transformation, how good the sculpt looks on most of these things. I'm particularly a big fan of Snarl, who's the Triceratops, because in his alt mode as the Triceratops, his gun becomes a part of his tail. That's a really nice attention to detail. And literally, these things transform so easy that you pretty much don't need the instructions, especially for Snarl. Slug's a little bit harder, only because he has like a weird pull joint and how his feet kind of fold under him. Really impressive engineering, if I'm going to be real. He has interesting weapon storage where he has his like Energon sword that attaches underneath him. It's not as elegant as Snarl with his tail where it integrates into him, but he is almost a better looking dinosaur. And you might say it looks a little weird because it almost looks like his butt is a little high in the air, but whatever. these are honestly like outstanding looking figures, especially if you're into that G2 aesthetic. Like, we're going to get Sludge and Swoop at a later date, and I am going to be asking Hasbro for those, because Swoop is like probably my second favorite Dinobot. And Sludge is up there too. He's the only Dinobot I actually owned as a kid. But the main reason to own these figures is the Transformers Studio Series 86 Dinobots were very hard to find at retail. And then when they went on the secondary market, you know, obviously people are going to mark stuff up because people are jerks. But finding these is relatively easy. Here in Canada, you can go to EB Games and find these relatively easy. There are also many good online retailers in Canada that you can find these in. If you're in the United States, you could go to GameStop. I think these things are readily available. You can order directly from Hasbro Pulse. And I really recommend these. Like, if you want to have a G2 collection of Dinobots, you have got to do this. You're going to have the most 90s extreme Dinobot experience ever. Like, when I display Slug and Snarl next to Grimlock, it is the most neon, weird, abstract colors, everything. Like, it's almost like I'm having a medical episode. But I dig that. I genuinely do. Like, these figures are outstanding. The posability for their size and scale, them both being leader class, is outstanding. If you want to get third-party add-ons for weapons and blast effects, you can do that as well. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, these are the same figures you knew from before, but maybe you didn't grow up with the 85, 84 versions of the Dinobots. Maybe you got these in the 90s, and now this is a chance for you to relive that experience. And honestly, they look great. Like, Slug in particular is the Stegosaurus, and the engineering in his figure, it's really cool. The fact where his head is stored and how his head connects is amazing. And one thing I really like on Snarl too is how concealed his alt mode legs are. Like, they fold completely into these round panels on the side of him. And again, just the fact that both of their mouths open, you can attach, I think you can attach blast effects. Like I said, I've got like a bucket of these things somewhere. I haven't had a chance to look. It's great. Like, it really is. I think, like, if you're going to have a G2 set, get these. Like, Grimlock is still relatively easy to find. Some places like Ross maybe even have them at clearance. Is it worth paying full retail price for this 2-pack? Well, if you don't have the original figures and you want a good copy of the mold, then yeah, I really think it's awesome. I mean, they display great in either alt or robot mode, but I really think where these things shine is in their alt modes. Like, I can't wait to have the most eye-gouging display of my Dinobots ever, and I'm so excited. So ultimately, my final recommendation for Transformers Age of the Primes G2 Universe Dinobot Slug and G2 Universe Dinobot Snarl, heavy recommendation. So yeah, you should check these figures out. I think they're fantastic, and that's what I got. So I will throw things back to Alex, and I will talk to you more about something else right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net.
Those magnificent bastards! Color me kooky, but something very odd is going on around here.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
And that's going to do it right now for the show, I guess, this week on ThisWeekInGeek. Blah. I'm leaving it in. I'm not even going to cut the bloopers because we are pressed for time. But that is going to do it for the show this week. What do we have coming up? Well, we've got a new episode of The Spellbook. This is episode 5. Airs live 12 noon at CFRU Radio. Links are obviously in our show descriptions. We always put that in there. And you can either listen to it live on the radio, live to stream from them, and then generally mid-afternoon, 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern time, we syndicate a copy of that. So that's coming up. This one is How to Be a Good Player. There's also the next episode of Earth versus Soup. That's episode 297, Santo in the Wax Museum from 1963. We will have other loose cannons, future imperfects, as well as new episodes of Random Access Memories coming. I believe we're going to drop one next week at some point. We've also got prototypes in the works. We've shifted the news segments that we were going to talk about this past week or so, all the stuff with what's going on with Sony, what's going on with Microsoft and Nintendo and Pokemon. All. So between all the corporate shakeups as well as the showcases and state of plays and all that, we're going to do a prototype that sort of just encapsulates our thoughts on it, because it'll have given it a little bit of time to breathe, as we see a lot of the news is like pretty breaking and they're constantly putting out stuff. So we want to just have just our thoughts on the whole debacles in some cases, and some of the games and showcases and stuff that have popped up, because some of the things that have been shown in those events we've actually already started working on some reviews and stuff for, if we've gotten them early or they might be out. A lot of cool stuff. So we've got prototypes coming up. Probably have another prototype, specifically an extended game review on something coming out, because I have a feeling it's going to be harder to fit into a regular show. It's going to be a longer one. And as we try to do with our extended reviews, we still try to make it as spoiler-free as possible. It's just that with a normal review, we try to constrain ourselves somewhere between 3 and like 9 or 10 minutes. So if it's going to take longer than that, generally, especially if we're hitting like the 20-minute mark or more, then we do it as a whole separate podcast, because otherwise that's too heavy of a segment specifically for a regular show. But yeah, that's what's coming up soon. As of this recording, like I said, I'll be away for a couple days visiting my mom. We were going to go to the movies. I was trying to see what I could take her to see, and it doesn't look like there's much out there right now that she would want to see. But yeah, it's she's getting older. She probably won't. She's not going to listen to this, but she probably wouldn't. Like, she's like, oh, I'm turning. I'm 69 this year, and I'm going to be 70 soon. I feel like I'm going to be old. I don't even want to party. So she's having family come over for coffee and cake. She doesn't want to do like a big, meal hubbub thing. I think we're going to do something like that for her 70th next year. It's also, I turn 40 next year, so we might combine them and do like a bigger family outing of some sort. But yeah, she asked, what would you like for your birthday? She's like, I don't want things. How about you come over? Would you like to stay over a couple of days and just hang out with your mom and watch some TV and movies? And I'm like, yeah, Mom, I'll do that, of course. So that's what we're doing. We're going to sit in, we're going to watch a few movies, maybe some TV. We got her around Christmas time. She has a Wii, one with soft modded and everything. We got an HDMI adapter for it and everything. So I'll probably hook that up for her, and maybe we'll play some Mario Kart or something, and get her to play the first video games that she'll have played not on her phone in, oh geez, like she played the NES back in like 2001 when we used to take that with us on vacations, because it was the system we didn't worry about breaking. And she was a big Dr. Mario and Tetris fiend. A little bit of Mario, but not much. It was mostly the puzzle games. So we'll get her to play that. I also, as a gift for her, I wanted to get her a new computer, but for anybody that's been following the news, the RAM and just hard drive prices have gone crazy. So I was able to Frankenstein old computer out of 12th gen Intel, but lower end out of all parts that I have, and then some extra stuff that different companies had sent for review items. I had a couple things left over, but I'm missing the RAM and I'm missing the hard drive. And I actually told her, I'm like, I know you don't want things, Mom, but you've been looking to get a new computer because your old one's sort of conked out and you've been surviving off of using a tablet and your phone. She's like, yeah, I'd like yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'll get a computer, but I'm going to wait till my taxes come. So I'm going to give her the shell of the computer, and then we'll figure out the pricing on the RAM and stuff, and she might have to buy that herself, but it's going to be a heck of a lot cheaper than her getting it herself. At that, and I've got maybe a little handheld emulator thing I've loaded up with Game Boy games, basically all the puzzle games like Tetris and everything, Game Boy, NES, and she'll have a little thing she can play from bed. So it's little techie things that she normally wouldn't ask for, but she'll probably like. So that's going to be a fun birthday this weekend for her. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Birdman and I are trying to figure out our schedules. We should, knock on wood, be back together to record the main shows. I think especially going into March break, we'll have more time to do that sort of stuff. And I think a couple of his jobs are winding down, but we've also got a lot of the, evergreen content, things we recorded, put in. It's just been harder this year, it seems, even starting before the holidays started. This year has been the hardest year in my 9 years of being here, that to get us, at the same time recording the regular show at the regular time. But we will do it. We are never going to stop. And the only other thing I've been doing before we got inundated with a lot of review stuff is I did do a playthrough of Final Fantasy VII on PC, because they dropped that Steam update that brings it in line with the console releases, maybe some quality of life stuff like natively supporting Windows 10 and 11, high resolutions, all that stuff. I didn't do a complete playthrough with like getting Knights of the Round or the Gold Chocobo or beating the weapons, because I was not going to spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours doing that. I wanted to see what it would be like to turn on like all the boosts that they give you within the game, all the new stuff, and just see how fast can you beat the game and do a complete story. And that's what I did. So I've been uploading bits and pieces of it. I've got multiple segments recorded. I'll probably upload them and just put them on the YouTube channel for anybody that feels like they want to come across it. It's not that it was like a planned big event, like I didn't do like live streaming. I just recorded my gameplay, did some commentary over it, not over all of it, especially the farther into the game I got. I just sort of let it go as I was playing, but just a fun thing we can do. Maybe it can go along with the Pixel remasters that I recorded a year or two ago and put all them up. So we'll have 1 through 7 up. Maybe I'll do 8. I have been holding off on 9 because that's the one I've only ever played once, but I've been holding off in hopes that they're going to release that rumored remake. But we'll see what happens over the course of this year. But yeah, that's it right now. I'm going to get ready and pack so that I can go tomorrow over to visit my mom, and we'll be back with a regular show, I think, next week. Same regular time, Mondays 7-ish a.m., depending on if it might be a little different because daylight savings is ending then. But yeah, right here at ThisWeekInGeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at ThisWeekInGeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.